Let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about the 20 reasons to consider GBC's PLC Technician programs. We're going to cover off why we think some of you should consider enrolling in our programs, what those best reasons are, and we will address along the way the common questions that we get asked about our programs and those details. So let's get started. My name is Scott Duncan. I am the Business Development Manager at GBC Tech Training. With me today are a number of my colleagues. My colleague Geet Amin. Say hello, Geet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Geet Amin. I'm the Senior Technical Consultant at the college.
And Iris is in the background monitoring the chat, and we'll be answering questions there and feeding us questions at the end. Say hello, Iris.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And Saba is our other colleague who's also monitoring the systems in the back end to make sure that we don't have any technical problems. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry. All right. Let's get started. So today's agenda is up on the screen. It's our plan for today. We're going to do 20 minutes roughly presentation, and then at least 10 minutes of chat, assuming there's questions, and we'll go beyond that if there are questions, as long as you need time to answer the questions that you have. The chat is open within Collaborate for you. In your interface, there's a purple button on the right-hand side of the screen. If you click that button, it will open up the user interface. Click on the bubble and you will get to go to the chat, and it's there that we would like you to enter questions, and Iris will be answering some of those questions, and some of them will be saving up to the end. The session is being recorded today. We will follow up with everyone after the session with slides, notes, links, etc. So let's plunge right in and get started. The first reason, most important reason that people value our program is that it is a study at your own pace, distance learning program. People can study it anywhere, anytime. We're very, very flexible. We have it's a self-paced model, allowing you to make the choices around how you pursue the program on your time. With that said, some people finish it quickly who might have a technical background. Some people take a longer time. We've had people take many years to finish under certain circumstances. It's up to you to work your way through the program at your pace. Average completion time is 32 weeks. Next reason, GBC's great reputation and accreditation is a really important part of our value to students. We are a fully accredited post-secondary educational institution here in Toronto, Canada. We offer through our programs a certificate of completion. We are overseen by the Ontario Ministry of Training, Colleges and Universities. We are the largest provider of distance education in Canada. We also have a number of important partners in the US market and one in South Africa, where we articulate our programs through their colleges. And we have a number of programs, university programs you can study, where you can take our programs and work towards a university program. We also specifically at George Brown College grant CEUs, or continuing education units, for completion of our programs. It's important to understand, as people are considering our training, am I qualified? Do I have the background to get into your program, and am I going to be okay in it? And the answer is that our entry requirements, we think, are fairly modest. We allow students in under most circumstances. We are open enrollment, which means we take just about everybody with some qualification. We prefer you to have a high school diploma or as an equivalent a mature student status to begin our programs. You don't have to have any previous PLC experience. It's helpful. And frankly, a lot of our typical students have a manufacturing work experience. They're working in industry. They're maybe working in electronics. They're working on PLCs to some degree, and they're using our program to confirm their knowledge and get some specific credentials around it. Really important in terms of people considering our program are very, very flexible registration options. Students can come back to school for a lot of reasons. Oops, goodness, what happened there? We just moved. People will come back to school for many, many reasons, but a lot of people find it intimidating and sometimes very complicated. We make it very, very simple. You can register on our webpage directly. You can call us and one of our advisors can talk you through any of your questions and get you registered. We try and make it really straightforward and simple. If your company is possibly funding your training, we can also work with them to manage the tuition reimbursement process. We have seen thousands of students, so we've seen all the different scenarios, and we can deal with almost any situation. Our registration process is really, really easy to use. And once you've reviewed our program and thought about how it applies to your career development and the opportunity path that you want to follow and have decided to register, we make it super simple to get signed up with us. You can go to the online registration forms on our particular web pages. A PLC is a really simple registration form. Our system will walk you right through that. Or you can call us. We have program advisors who are on the phone from dawn till dusk, as we say, and ready to take your phone calls, answer your questions, and get you registered. Another really important reason our program is very, very popular is our low cost and our pay-as-you-learn option. If you're not sure if our program is right, if online training is right, if post-secondary education is right for you, we offer a really effective way to get people to test out our system. You can register for the program into the first module. You do have to purchase the independent learning package, which is the curriculum and the lab material. To get started, you can kick the tires, so to speak. If it's right, if it works, if it makes sense, then you can continue on registering one module at a time or registering into all the remaining modules at one time. It's all the same total cost, so it's really flexible and made to fit your particular needs. Moving forward, one thing people find particularly important in their decision to pursue technical training or post-secondary education is, of course, the cost. We are a very competitive option. Our program is $1,700 all in. You can buy a supplemental textbook that's a little $170 more, but once the $1,700 is all in, compared to, say, a college diploma at a full-time college, or possibly even a part-time college, that might cost you up to $7,000 and take you a couple of years to get through. Or, of course, a university degree, which at the least these days is around $50,000. So if you're looking for technical training in this very specific area and with the desire to master some of the theory and get some new skills and learn how to program PLCs, we're a really effective option. Another real advantage of our program is that it's so well integrated and it's all in one nice package. Once you register, you download our curriculum and lab material. It's all there for you. You load it up on your computer, and then you can begin working with it almost immediately. Most students are up and running within 24 hours of their registration. We have additional online resources in the Student Support Center, and of course I mentioned there's a supplemental textbook. Also very convenient and very important to completing our program are the exams, and we've made our online exam system very easy and convenient to work with. You prove your mastery of the content through the exams. There's practice exams, there's an exam FAQ. We go out of our way to help people who are learning to use online exams for the first time to master it. It's a 90-minute exam. You have to get 60 to pass, and you have to complete the exams for each module. And then lastly, in terms of this section of our presentation, it's really important to recognize in the value that we offer is we have particular established pathways to bachelor degrees at a number of institutions. We have relationships with U.S. universities, and we articulate into Newman University in particular, which combines if you take the PLC or electronics, complete the GBC diploma, you could actually move right into the 4th year of their BSc program. Okay, that takes us about halfway through. I'm going to turn over to Geet to cover some of the technical information.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for all that good information about the college and programs. Hello again, everyone. If anyone joined in late to our webinar today, I would introduce myself again. I'm Geet Amin. I work as a senior technical consultant at the college. I will walk you through some of the technical side of the PLC programs, obviously starting with the hardware requirements, as this is the first question that could come up in anyone's mind is what kind of computer I need to run this PLC program. So the answer to that question is very simple. A computer with 1 GB of RAM, as little as 250 MB of free space on hard drive is more than enough to run the PLC software. The simulation software, PLC Logic 500 and 5000 that we offer with our PLC programs, which will help you to learn the ladder logic programming, are rather CPU intensive and not graphics intensive. This means that students will not have to purchase a computer with an expensive dedicated graphics card. As long as you have a nice computer with a decent CPU, such as Intel i5 or i7, or if you have a computer with AMD processor, then it could be Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7. It will be more than enough and compatible to run this simulation software and the curriculum software. Now, the biggest requirement that we really ask students is that they will need a computer with Windows operating system. Our programs are exclusively based on Windows, and therefore it will not work on Mac OS, Linux, Chrome OS, or any kind of tablets that are not running Windows operating system. So that's one requirement we ask students. Also, as Scott mentioned, the PLC Technician program is offered in a single package, which is a web-based format. So you will require an internet connection to access the curriculum part of it. However, the simulation software is installed locally on your computer, so you won't need an internet connection to use the simulation software whenever you want to practice the ladder logic programming. Also, you'll need an internet connection to take online exams at the end of each module. Let's move on to the next reason why people consider our PLC programs. Scott, if you don't mind to please take us to the next slide. Thank you. There you go. High quality student support. Very good. So as we all know, student support is very important for a technical training program like PLC. If you're ever stuck on a question lab project, or you're working on a programming example and you don't understand the ladder logic program or the logic behind it, you can always contact us at the support center. Along with the tutorial support, there is also technical support available to the students, where we can help them to install the software on your computer, or help you troubleshoot if there are any kind of conflicts not allowing you to install the software. We can help you troubleshoot that as well. So for any such technical and tutorial queries, you can reach us by phone, email, or use one of our online student forums. We have a dedicated toll-free support line using which you can reach the support advisors directly, or you can email it to us and we'll be more than happy to help you. The Student Resource Center, where we host our student forum, students enrolled in the same program, they can interact with each other, as well as they can ask a question directly to the student advisor. So the student forums are very handy in terms of if you want to coordinate or if you want to collaborate with other students taking the same program. At the same time, these forums have been running for quite long time, so there are a lot of questions already posted and answered by the advisors, so there's a good chance that you'll find your question already answered on the forum. But if you don't, you can always post your question and it will be answered by the forum advisor. Good thing about our support center is we are open extended hours, as you can see, Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. in the evening, and on weekends 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. because we have a huge number of students who work full-time during the day and study in the evening and on weekends. So our extended support hours are a huge benefit to them. Okay, let's take a look at the next reason. Thank you, Scott. So here we are looking at the coverage of content. So what it's shown on the screen is the PLC2 modules. But PLC1 and PLC2, they both include 19 modules, and there are about 7 modules similar between the two programs. So if you decide to take PLC Technician first and then you enroll into PLC2, then you will get credit for 7 modules on PLC2, which means you will not have to pay for those 7 modules. That's the credits you get between the two modules for the similar modules between the two programs. Now, there are more than 250 pre-made lab projects on the program, which will help you learn the ladder logic programming using the industry standard simulation software. We'll talk more about the simulation software, but when you're looking at this course curriculum on the screen, you'll see a lot of modules here. For example, if you look at module 8, timers, so you'll learn the theory in there, but at the same time, there will be a lot of lab projects in there, which will help you understand the theory and how you can apply that into the ladder logic programming. So that's the best part of this course. What else in terms of modules, there are review questions at the end of the module, practice exam, troubleshooting programming examples are available as well, which will help you prepare to work in the manufacturing environment, because we use real world examples in those practical programming examples, so that when you graduate from this program and if you're transiting into a workplace, it would not be a huge turnover. You will kind of have an idea and background on what kind of what to expect when you go to work. You will have to do an online exam at the end of each module. Now, once you finish all 19 exams, you'll be considered as a graduate, and then you'll get a certificate from the college. Okay, let's take a look at the, okay, very good. So this is a short video. Thank you, Scott. So here you will see the 3D worlds. We call it 3D worlds, but they are really manufacturing environments. So there are 11 different 3D worlds that you'll learn to program and control using a ladder logic program on the simulation software. Now, in order to properly understand the operation of PLC systems, it is necessary to spend a good amount of time programming, testing, and debugging ladder logic programs, right? So if and PLCs are very expensive, and so it's not that easy to just purchase the PLC and try it out on your end, and that's where the simulation tools comes in very handy. So our PLC Logic 500 and 5000 simulation software, they emulates the functionality of RS Logic 500 and Studio 5000 from Rockwell. So again, when you graduate from this program and if you have to start using the using Studio 5000 at your workplace, it would not be a huge transition. Okay, now both our program focuses on Allen Bradley PLCs. PLC1 is the older generation of Allen Bradley, which is SLC 500, while PLC2 is the advanced, which is Studio 5000. RS Logics 5000, it was in the past. Now, it will teach you the ladder logic programming very thoroughly. So when you graduate from these programs, you can say that you know the ladder troubleshooting, creating as well as modifying the ladder programs inside out. So maybe we can go to the next slide where we can see all 11 3D worlds thumbnails. So here we can see different manufacturing environments. We call it 3D worlds. That comes on the PLC Logics 500 and 5000. When you go through different modules in the course, you'll come across pre-built lab projects, which will teach you how to program, troubleshoot, and control this 3D worlds using the ladder program. So you'll also be presented with lots of troubleshooting examples, which will ask you to modify the ladder program such that to make changes to this manufacturing environment. So you will see it reflected real time. This is what makes our PLC technician program very unique. You'll not only learn the theory, but at the same time, you will be able to apply that knowledge to control this manufacturing environments. We can take a look at one of these 3D worlds in detail on the next slide. Scott, I think you moved backwards on the slides. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. So let's take a look at one of the 11 3D worlds in detail. Here, this is a car wash, stationary car wash example we're looking at. You can see the ladder program in the background. It is controlling the car wash 3D world. In this example, when you look at the ladder program in detail, unfortunately, the size is not big enough, or it's not nicely zoomed in for you to read it. But when you go through, it's a huge ladder program, and it's a complicated ladder program. You'll be using subroutines and everything. So when you look at the ladder program, you'll see that it controls the timing of the car wash. There are different wash cycles being controlled. A door open close sequence, you can control that as well. So it's very interactive, such that any changes you make on the ladder program, you'll see it reflected on the 3D world. And this is just one example out of many practical programming and troubleshooting exercises you'll come across throughout the program, which will teach you ladder logic inside out. When you register for a PLC or PLC2 program, you'll receive this simulation software with a lifetime license. So, and this is what we hear a lot from our graduates, is even after they finish the program, they continue to use the simulation tools to practice ladder logic programming, and it keeps them up to date with the technological advancement. I think that's it from my end, Scott. What do we have next? If you don't mind to please go next. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. I would pass it back to you now, Scott. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Geet, for that overview of the programs. Lots of details there. We can discuss that in more detail in the Q&A, some of the more technical elements. So just to wrap up with a few summary comments about some of the best reasons why people want to consider our programs. Ultimately, once you've finished one of our programs, you can take a lot back to your career, to your future prospects. You complete with a PLC Technician Certificate of Completion. You get 76 continuing education units from GBC. You have PLC simulation experience. You have PLC ladder logic programming experience. And maybe ultimately the most important thing that students graduate with is new knowledge of the domain and a real confidence in their understanding of how it works and how the systems work and how they're tied together with the software. These are all really valuable knowledge and skills and confidence that your certificate backs up and that you can take out into the workforce. Gosh, it's just not advancing the right. All right, come on. Sorry, guys. It's not. There we go. Once you do take yourself back out to the job market, of course, you're wondering what the impact might be in terms of a job. This is data from late 2021, payscale.com. The average salaries for PLC technician programmers are between 44 and 77,000 in Canada, and control automation technicians a little bit less than that. So clearly there's lucrative opportunity in manufacturing, in industry for you, and as industry rebounds from really a tough few years in COVID and the supply chain problems, and now manufacturing is starting to really get traction, and there'll be more and more opportunities there for you. One final comment to encourage you to go and look at our websites and check in with our graduates and the comments that they make. We've got a lot of them scattered all over the website. These folks have had the experience of going through the program and then taking it back into the workforce, and their stories tell you a lot about the impact that our program can have in someone's career and job and salary and all that good stuff. The last thing we'll wrap up on is that our programs really do give you a clear choice of two slightly different directions in PLC training, and Geet very nicely summarized the difference between PLC 1 and 2. If it's not completely clear, which is possible given that it's kind of complex, you can go to this quiz that we have online, and it can walk you through some of the more general elements and help direct you towards a particular program. I also advise you, if you get to that point and you still have questions and you really want to explore it more, give us a call, talk to one of our advisors. They're very good. They've had a lot of experience talking with students of all different levels, and they can help you understand the nature of the programs and maybe make recommendations on which might be the best opportunity for you. That brings us to our allocated time. Now we're going to move into questions and answers. Let's go to Iris, who's going to help us navigate the questions that came in over chat.
Yeah, we do have a few questions. The first one is from Mohammed, and he was asking about mentioning the 5 languages in PLC, IEC 61311, and is it inside the program? Geet, can you answer that?
Sure. Yes, I can address that. Hi, Mohammed. We do introduce all languages that are part of IEC 61311 standard. But our program, our whole course curriculum, as well as the simulation software, is solely focused on teaching you ladder logic programming. We introduce the function block, structured text, and all those other languages part of that standard, but we do not. The programming you will learn is strictly restricted to ladder logic programming, and part of the reason is majority of the industries and manufacturing companies, they use Allen Bradley as the PLC. Allen Bradley and Siemens are the big, but Siemens is more in Europe than in North America. North America is mostly Allen Bradley, and they all use ladder logic programming to control their manufacturing plants.
Scott, we have a question from Yanan. He was asking if you could touch upon the PLC job market.
The PLC job market is directly tied to the health and the prosperity, the productivity of the manufacturing sector. PLCs are a key activity, or a key kind of functional technology built into most manufacturing systems. So there is opportunity in many companies. There are different kinds of opportunities where where companies are maybe moving into smart manufacturing. So they're bringing PLCs into their company. So they need people who have experience and ability to work with them. There are companies that are migrating from one level of technology to the next, so our PLC2, PLC1, which addresses the Allen Bradley 500 environment, up to the Allen Bradley 5000 environment in PLC2. So there are companies moving through that are incorporating those kind of PLCs. The future of technology, the future of manufacturing is smart technology. PLCs are a core component of that. The job market is solid. It's been a bit tough in the last few years as manufacturing has had some setbacks and as COVID has slowed down the manufacturing industry in both Canada and the US, but it's definitely rebounding. If you look at the statistics, it's coming out of a slump quite strongly, and the projections for PLCs, automation, and robotics are really healthy as our manufacturing moves towards more and more automation.
Geet, I've got a couple of questions about what the modules contain in terms of content. One is HMI, SCADA, and math instructions. If you could address those 3 points.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. We do cover HMIs a little bit. I would not say that we cover extensively. We cover HMIs in DCS, and SCADA as well. SCADA, we have a complete module for SCADA. We have a separate module for DCS. So we do cover all those content in our program. Now, what we can do is maybe, Iris, if you don't mind, to post a program outline link to the chat, and everyone can take a look at the details, or we can also send you more on the program outline if you provide us your email address that way. But we do cover HMIs in the DCS module, as well as we have a separate module for the SCADA.
Okay. Tyrek asks, will I be able to program a PLC from scratch at the end of this program?
Yes, Tyrek, sorry. You will be able to write a ladder logic program from scratch. That's the main intention. Like, the whole focus of our course is to teach you ladder logic programming, because that is one of the main duties of a PLC technician. Once you graduate from this program, you will be able to write a ladder logic program from scratch. In fact, the PLC Logic Simulation software that you will receive with this course, it has capabilities. It can allow you to export program files from actual PLCs, such as Rockwell's Logic 5000, and that's something. So it allows for a seamless transition, and that is something a lot of our graduates they use it as well.
Scott, can you? We have a question, and from 2 people. I live and work in the U.S. Are these, and they call them certifications, so maybe you can address that as well, recognized here in the States?
Sure, very common question. These programs are certificates. When you successfully complete the programs, you're granted a certificate. A certificate is different than a certification. A certification is usually a credential that you earn as a result of study, and then practice, and then exams associated with the practice, giving you a particular certification at a certain level. So it's a different animal. Now, but what does that mean in general terms? So if you study at a college, you get certificates of completion, you get diplomas, and you get degrees. We're of that category rather than the certification category. And to just address briefly the question of their applicability in the US versus Canada, our certificates cover essentially the basics of these subjects as applied in both US and Canada, and frankly around the world. We also, just to confirm that for you with more direct evidence, we partner with a number of US colleges where we provide our training materials through their distance ed and workforce development programs, and they offer these programs to their local students. There's 10 colleges in the U.S. I believe it's 10, maybe 11 now, who also recognize our content. And then there's also the universities that I talked about briefly that have reviewed our material and have granted a pathway into their bachelor's degree programs. Those articulation agreements, as they're referred to, allowing you to study our certificate, get a few more courses, and get a diploma. Then take a diploma, expand the coverage to say another program, PLC and electronics, then take those and enter into a university degree program. So our programs are acknowledged. The content has been reviewed by many U.S. colleges, and we've been given their endorsement, and we've had relationships with hundreds of them, and many companies and colleges and universities have reviewed our material and endorse it.
Scott, maybe you want to address this question. Does this designation pair well with power engineering?
So let's be careful with that term again, designation. It's not a designation per se, as in a professional designation. It's a certificate. Power engineering, given my limited knowledge of what that involves, is large-scale power engineering solutions, power plants, power systems, the design and building of large-scale power systems. Ours are within those systems and within those environments, they must have PLCs to control the mechanical components of those systems. So PLCs and automation tools always integrate into the larger manufacturing and engineering world in very direct ways. They're means of communicating, of measuring actual real output, and then communicating what to do if and when certain things happen. So there is an integration. Power engineering is a higher level designation, usually a university degree. So it's a different animal, but they do intersect.
We have a couple questions from Tarek again. He's asking about the PLC and the robotics program, and which would be better off to start with. I know that's a pretty complex question, but Scott, can you try and answer it?
Sorry, who was that one from?
Tyrek?
Tyrek?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the chat, trying to find the question. So,
right
okay, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, 137. So it's a hard question to answer, Tyrex, because it's really built on really what you want to do and what where you are in your academic career, where you are in your work career. I want to take PLC into robotics. After this would be a good start, or would it be? PLC systems are kind of a foundation of manufacturing, where if you learn PLCs, you learn the simpler, those smart boxes that control the complex manufacturing system. Robotics is a component of a manufacturing system. Really, obviously, very important, and robotics are growing in significance and importance in manufacturing. Just look at the auto industry, and you'll see incredible integration of robotics. Look at and more things like palletization, and even like a paint sprayer or a robot welding system. All of those things are the kind of things that we cover in our robotics program. So they're very directly related. I would say the answer really depends on where you are and where you want to go at this time in your career, and not knowing the answers to those things, I would strongly advise you to give us a call, talk to one of our advisors who has worked with a lot of students in both programs, and we can maybe give you a slightly better, more specific answer.
Scott, we have a question from, oh, I just lost it, from, I think Justin is leaving at, got to go to class. Does completion of this program make someone job ready to enter the workforce as a complete PLC technician? There are several manufacturing plants near me that are currently hiring PLC techs.
Right. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep an eye on that question. So yeah, so the PLC program will provide you with a really, really solid foundation in the fundamentals of PLCs. If you were to take PLC 1 and PLC 2, you've had a really good solid foundation in the Allen Bradley 500 and 5000 series. Now, you've worked with our simulators to gain the experience of programming and building solutions. But if you've never worked in any PLC environment, or even if you've never worked, sorry, so you're an industrial electrician, so you've, let me retract that. So you've actually do have some experience working in a plant or in a manufacturing doing this kind of stuff. I would argue that you are almost job ready. Some companies will say they'll want experience of actually practically working on PLCs, and that may slow you down. But the reality of it is that you would, I think you'd be in a really good position, especially with 10 years of industrial work, to move into PLCs. Should you start with 1 or 2? You know, that's a complex question. It really depends on the companies that you're looking at. If you could look at those companies and find out what technology they're using, it might be a simple answer. They could both be using Allen Bradley 5000 hardware, which would suggest strongly that you should take PLC 2 right away, because that's the environment that you would be working with right away. But there's real value in understanding the older tech and the newer tech, because often what happens is people layer, you know, they've got a plant doing certain things, they've got the older tech based on the older generation of equipment, and then they bring in newer generation and they layer it on top of it. So you end up covering them both. I think again, I have to turn the answer back to look at your specific circumstance, figure that stuff out, and then give us a call again and maybe talk to one of our advisors or talk to Geet, and we can maybe help direct you a little more carefully and explicitly given that information.
Scott, there's another question regarding, do I need to take PLC before I start on PLC Technician 2?
The answer is that no, you do not need to take 1 before you take 2 for basically the reasons I just mentioned. It's a good idea because it's a different generation of PLC technology. If you learn PLC 1, it's the simpler, older PLC systems that are very prevalent in many, many companies. And then if you take PLC 2, you're covering some of the same content and theory and application, but now you're integrating the higher level PLC 2 Allen Bradley 5000 software and hardware solution, so that you are getting theory and knowledge and programming experience within that world. So I hate to keep saying it depends, but it really does depend on what you're going to be doing and where you're starting and where you're going.
That's
Iris?
the end of the questions that we have online in the chat, unless I've missed one, if somebody wants to type it again, but I believe we've covered off everything.
Please give us a call and talk to one of our advisors. They're very knowledgeable, particularly more senior ones, and we can, I think we can provide some really good insight into how these training opportunities can be used to forward your agenda of job and salary and opportunity in the marketplace. Thank you very much. We'll be following up with an email shortly with some of the material that's created. We'll give you a link to the video. If you do have specific questions, drop us your email in the chat and we'll follow up with you. We'll leave that up for a few more minutes so that you can drop anything in there that you want. I think that's it for now. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we look forward to talking to you more in the future. Bye for now.